Service Agency. Thank you, Shamra. We are going to record this session and distribute it to AFSCME 328 leadership to get out to everyone for reference in the future. Just some little housekeeping notes. Please use the chat if you have questions and you need to get it out in the moment so you don't forget. Put it in the chat, or you can raise your hand digitally through the Zoom tools. Either way is perfectly acceptable. We will do question and answers during the session, as well as if you wait till the end, we'll have time then as well. So we will start by talking about unemployment insurance and the rules around qualifying and maintaining that. And, you know, a lot of times that's where we get a bulk of questions. So please don't hesitate. We're here for y'all. We will talk about WorkSource, connect that to unemployment, how to qualify, but then all the other amazing resources they provide as well. We will have a presentation part about Oregon Health Insurance Marketplace, so all the different options available once your employer-sponsored coverage ends. We are aware that people are on kind of different timelines. Some people, you know, have already been laid off. Some are getting laid off on the 3rd of September. We know that there's some variance going on. So if you have specific questions around that kind of stuff, please don't hesitate. Michael will address all that. And then we will talk about more WorkSource stuff called regional business services and how to use them as well to help get you placed in your next job or maybe switch careers. And then we'll talk a little bit about our agency as well at the end. So I'm going to now hand it over to Malcolm, who is here from Unemployment Insurance with the Oregon Employment Department. And we appreciate you being here, Malcolm. So go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. Absolutely. I'm happy to be here. I'm sorry that you have to go through this moment. How many affected employees do we have present right now?
About a dozen from my looking at the list right now.
Okay. Alrighty. All right. Now, have any of you already filed for unemployment? Have you, well, out of the present, how many of you have been laid off already? Silence means none.
Yeah, Malcolm, OHSU issued multiple warns. So there was a first group that the impact date happened beginning of August. The second warn came out, and most of the impact on that is around the beginning of September. But there is, yeah, September 3rd for a lot of people. But then there are some contracts that have been extended, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of like all over the place with this one.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So let's real quick review the information that you will need to apply for unemployment for those who haven't applied yet. And what information is needed, what are the steps that you need to take before you are able to file for unemployment and start claiming a week of benefits, okay? First of all, the first question is, how do I qualify for unemployment? Well, what we do is we take the earnings that have been reported for you for the past 18 months, and all the employers that you had during that period of time, we use those wages have been reported for you by that employer or employers to determine whether you will be or not eligible for benefits. Basically determines if you will have a valid claim, not if you are eligible or not. If you have a valid claim, means that the wages that are in the base year, that's what we call it, are enough for you to have a valid claim, a claim that will be able to pay you benefits either 1 week or more, okay? The other important part of this is that you are out of work, but not for fault of your own. So if you have not been laid off yet, don't make anything that will cause you to get fired, okay? Just follow the rules. And the last part of it is that every week that you claim for benefits, you need to be and certified that you are able to work you are available for full-time work, and you are also actively looking for work, okay? Next. I don't have control over the slides, thank you. How do we calculate your weekly benefit amount? So those wages that I mentioned before, we calculate the 1.25% of those wages, and that is how we determine your weekly benefit amount. That's the amount of benefit that you will be receiving per week, every week that you claim for benefits, and that amount is before taxes. We're going to touch the taxes in a bit. Just to kind of understand a little bit, the base period that we use is basically the last 5 completed quarters of your wages from this quarter back, not counting this quarter. And the weekly benefit amount is determined for the wages reported on the first 4 of those 5 quarters of wages reported. Once you file for unemployment, you will be receiving several letters. So I highly recommend you keep always a close eye on your mail, regular mail, while you're claiming for unemployment. The first letter that you will be receiving is basically a verification of the wages that we use to calculate your benefits, okay? If you notice that there are any wages missing in that letter that should be there during that period of time, then collect your pay stubs of the employer or employers that the wages are missing, even if you're current employer, and then send a copy to us. Let us know as soon as possible, because we can ask taxes to actually look into that situation and determine if those wages are actually missing, and if we need to add them, then we can do that. Why is this important? It's very important if you have a minimum weekly benefit amount of $196, and adding those wages could increase, not necessarily will, but could increase either your weekly benefit amount or the amount of weeks that you will be receiving benefits, okay? Currently in Oregon, the minimum weekly benefit amount is $196. So whatever 1.25% of your wages reported on the first 4 quarters, if they are less than $196, you will be receiving $196 per week. On the other hand, if the 1.25% is over $836 per week, you will be receiving only $836 per week, okay? Next. And all this information is in the claimant handbook, by the way. Now, before you can actually apply for unemployment or file your initial claim, you need to, and you can do this today after this meeting, go to Francis Online and create an account in Francis Online if you have not yet done it, okay? Once you get this process done, then you will be able to file for unemployment and then start claiming for unemployment. Now, in the past, when you start doing this process of signing up for Francis Online, the process was interrupted because you needed to request a letter to receive some security information for you to enter it to be able to complete this process. So this is a regular mail letter that we don't have access to. You are the only person that will be able to have access to that information. You enter that information to continue and finish the process of creating your profile. Might not be the case now, but that's what I remember it was the case not too long ago, okay? And once you have this done, then you will be able to do the next step, which is file for unemployment. Next. Alrighty, so you just, to sign up, go to the Francis Online, and then go to, I don't know if you can point in that, is set up an online account. So you go and that link and click on that. And then next. Okay, that's exactly what I was saying. Next. And you can do this process either by online by yourself, or you can also call to get this process initiated. Now, how to apply for benefits? As it says there, so you already have this, your account set up and ready to go, okay? So you can apply for benefits through Francis Online, or you can do it over the phone. Before you can start claiming for benefits, you need to file for unemployment, what we call filing for your initial claim. And then you will need to claim for benefits. Now, let me try to explain the importance of having cleared those two steps. You want to file for unemployment or file for your initial claim during the week that you want to start claiming for benefits, okay? Once you file for unemployment during that week, our weeks go from Sunday to Saturday. So between Sunday and Saturday of the week that you want to start claiming for benefits, you go online and start your process there, file for create your initial claim. And then when that week ends on Saturday at midnight, then on Sunday or Monday, you will be claiming for the week that just finished, okay? If you try to claim this week on the Saturday of the same week that you file for unemployment, the system is going to automatically put you the week prior to that week, okay? So don't make that mistake. So again, start your claim during the week that you want to file for unemployment, and on the next Sunday or Monday, you will be claiming for that week that just finished and continue claiming every week. Now, you will have from Sunday to Saturday of the following week to claim the week prior, okay? If we highly recommend that you make a habit of claiming on Sundays or Saturdays for very specific reasons. One, if you have any problems, either your PIN number does not work with to get into Francis Online, or you have any difficulties with the system, or you cannot get through the phone, then you contact us, and you have plenty of time to contact us, solve the problem, and you'll be able to claim a week of benefits, okay? If you wait until Friday after hours or Saturday to claim the week prior, and you face any difficulties, then most likely you're gonna be on your own, okay? So the other big reason for claiming Saturdays and Mondays, is that you will not miss any weeks, claiming any weeks of benefits, okay? Any questions so far?
Malcolm, I was looking at the calendar, so most of them, their last day is Tuesday, September 3rd. So in theory, they should probably file their first weekly claim on Sunday the 8th or Monday the 9th, because working 1 or 2 days a week, they still may qualify, right? Because they're
They
not
may.
getting the, yeah.
They may. I would highly recommend, if you are going to be laid off, if your last day working is going to be on September the 3rd, you said?
Yes.
The Monday is a holiday. So I will file for unemployment between the 1st and the 7th of that week. Why is that? Because if you and you need to report any hours that you claim that you work during any of the weeks that you claim for benefits. We're going to maybe touch that a little bit later. You need to report all the hours that you worked between the Sunday and the Saturday of the week that you're claiming for benefits, and multiply that by your pay rate. Okay, all the numbers go before taxes are deducted. So if you earn $30 per hour and you work 10 hours, then you're going to be reporting $300 earnings for that week. Regardless if you were paid or not during that week, you work the hours and the money is yours, is going to get to you. Otherwise, your employer will get in trouble if they don't. So we need to have that amount, okay? Again, regardless if you have been paid or not already for those hours. If you are being paid for the holiday, 8 hours or whatever the amount it is, those are considered also wages and also need to be reported in the hours worked, okay? And same thing, multiply by your pay rate, and then the gross amount goes in the total, okay? Any questions so far? Perfect. Let's move on to the next one. So this is basically, this should be a little bit before, but you go to Francis Online, you can log on to Francis Online, again, for claiming, or you can call, and I wish you memorize this number, the 877-345-3484. This is the claims phone number. And if you have any questions or any problems, you want to call that number. Now, we understand that it is difficult to get through that number if you have tried in the past, because it is always busy. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's not going to be easy to get through. But you have other options to communicate with the employment department. Through Francis Online, you can send a message to the employment department and state what the problem is. Or you can go to our website, to unemployment.oregon.gov, and there, if you find the link that says contact us, you also can post your question there. And this is important because every time that you send a question through those systems, there is a date and time stamp, and any issues that might not be resolved. For example, claiming a week of benefits, that you have any problems with your PIN number, but nobody could get to you until 1 week, and hopefully never, but even 2 weeks after, and you haven't not been able to claim those 2 weeks because of that problem, but you let us know during the week that you were supposed to claim that week for benefits, then we can honor that date because you did make the effort to contact us and we just were able to do it to help you at the time, okay? So we will retroactively get that information from you and validate those weeks that you were not able to claim, okay? Next. That's exactly what I was saying. You can send messages through here. You will be receiving messages also through Francis Online. Every time that we send anything to you, you will be receiving an email if that's your preferred method of contact, or we will be sending a letter if that's your preferred method of contact. That's why it's very important for you to keep an eye on your mail every day while you're claiming for benefits, because there are some things that will be going through to you, okay? Next. Now, how do you claim for benefits every week? As I explained, you will only be able to claim the week that just finished, okay? Not the week, not 2 weeks before, the week that just finished, okay? You will have from Sunday to Saturday of the current week to claim the week prior that just finished. And again, make a habit of claiming on Sundays or Mondays for the reasons that I already told you. When you claim a week of benefits, you will certify that you are able to work, that you are available for work and actively seeking work for the week that you're claiming for benefits. We will ask you to provide your work seeking activities for that week. I highly recommend that you keep a notepad by your computer and you just make notes of all your work seeking activities, especially your direct contacts with the employers, because we will be asking you for that information. So that way you have the information ready to go when you are claiming for benefits, okay? And you will be asked to provide your work seeking activities when you're claiming for benefits. And you will need to report 5 work seeking activities. And out of those 5, at least 2 of those, they have to be a direct contact with an employer. Now, what is a direct contact with an employer? A direct contact is any efforts that you make to directly interact with that employer. For example, you walk into the company to talk to somebody or pick up an application paper. Well, they don't do that anymore, but you send them a letter, you speak with somebody personally there, go in person, you apply for the job listing according with the requirements of the employer. You give them a call, etc. Those are direct contacts with an employer, okay? Now, if you are looking for jobs and you see one and you look, okay, oh, I don't have the skills that they require, so you do not apply for that job, that search can be used as an additional work-seeking activity, but does not qualify as a direct contact because you did not try to contact that employer. Does that make sense? Now, other additional work-seeking activities include, but are not limited to, updating your resume, attending to job listings or workshops that are sponsored by the employment department or at WorkSource, etc. Okay. Next.
And then Malcolm, I always just like to mention, because AFSCME 328 is not a closed union. So could you just briefly touch on that so we don't have people confused about that? Thank you.
There are 2 exceptions for which you will see actually and explain in every week that you claim for benefits. One is if you are a member of a union. The unions that we are making reference to are the unions in which the union is the one that assigns jobs to their union members. Think of carpenters or welders, construction in different types, etc. So I am a member of a union, the 503, but my union does not look for work for me. So if I'm to be laid off, then I will have to report the 5 work-seeking activities. That exception does not apply to me, okay? In your case, that exception does not apply to you either, okay? Does that make any sense? Now, the other exception is temporarily laid off. And temporarily laid off, people think, oh, I'm in between jobs, I'm temporarily laid off, I'm going to find a job, obviously, eventually in the next, 7 or 8 weeks, hopefully before that. The description or the definition of temporarily laid off is if you have a date or an expected date to return to work with your employer, within 4 weeks since the date that you were laid off to return to work with the same employer full-time or earning more than your weekly benefit amount, then you will qualify under the temporary layoff or TLO exception. If you do not, in your case, you do not have a date to return to work, so you also, under the temporary layoff exception, does not apply to you, and you do need to report the five work-seeking activities, and at least 2 of them a direct contact with an employer. You can do all 5 direct contacts with your employer, with an employer report every week or 1 week or more, but no less than 2. Now, the other thing that I ask just to not do is repeat the same employer 2 or 3 weeks in a row, just because you're checking to see if they are, if they got your resume, or you just kind of, checking on them to see how the process is going, or you have an interview. That is totally fine if you do it, but if you list the same one over and over again and you don't list more, we think that you are only focused on that one and you are missing opportunities to find jobs with other employers. So just give it up, I don't know, 4, 5 weeks before you list that one again, to give them time to go through their process, that they can actually review your resume, that they can think, well, do we want to call this person for an interview or not? Okay. So that way you expand your ability to find a job. The purpose of the unemployment benefits is to help you to sustain you or help you monetarily while you are trying to get back to work as soon as possible, okay? And that's the key phrase, as soon as possible. If you limit your options, that it's not as soon as possible, okay? Any questions so far? Nope. If you have any question, if you post them here in the chat, I might not be able to see them as I'm doing the presentation, but I'll review them and then I'm gonna be answering later, or you can save them, write them down, and then we can do a Q&A after the presentation, okay? Now, as I mentioned before, the benefits that you receive, you can determine how do you want to get paid for those benefits. One is applying for direct deposit, and the other is through the Relia card. The default system, if you do not choose any, is for the employment department to send the Relia card. How does this work? First of all, and we're gonna talk also about the waiting week. The first week that you claim for benefits, that is eligible for benefits, is the waiting week, and that week does not get paid. Nobody gets paid for that week, and you only have to serve 1 week as a waiting week for the life of your claim. If you do not choose to get a direct deposit, then the following week that is payable to you after the waiting week, then the first payment will go to you as a paper check in the mail. Again, keep a close eye on your mail. And a few days later, in the mail, again, you will be receiving the Relia card, which is a debit card from the Bank of America. It has some instructions and some warnings on how to avoid getting some additional charges. Usually you don't get charges if you use it as a debit card and in the network of the US bank. If you want to withdraw money from the Relia card from another bank network or grid, then you might get some fees to do that, okay? So read the instructions very carefully. Now, once you receive the Relay card, all the subsequent payments for the following weeks that you will be claiming for benefits will be deposited in the Relay card about 2 business days after you claim for benefits. For the day that you claim, the day after, starting from the day after you claim for benefits, 2 business days, it should be there in your Relay card, okay? Now, if you choose the direct deposit, then before your bank is ready to receive the direct deposits, you will be receiving any weeks that are payable after the waiting week through paper check until your bank is ready to receive direct deposits. Once your bank is ready, then same as the Relay card, give it about 2 business days after you file for, claim a week of benefits for the money to be deposited in your bank account, okay? There is some information that you will need to provide. Let's move to the next one. So you go again, Francis Online, you can manage your profile, you hit more, and then you have here manage payment channels, and then set up a new payment channel next. And there it is, you fill out the information. That's the information that you will be asked is the bank's routing number, the account number, the bank account type, and the name of the account, okay? Now let's move on to the next one. Now, as I mentioned before, your benefits are taxable. So you can choose whether you receive, the employment department withholds the state taxes, the federal taxes, or both, or none of them. Just keep in mind that any taxes that you did not ask to be withheld, you would be responsible to pay those taxes at the time of the filing your taxes for the next year. Now, in every year in January, between January 1st, 2nd, and January 31st, the Employment Department sends the Form 1099 to all the claimants who had any taxes being withheld by the Employment Department, so you can use that for your tax returns for the following year, in April of the following year, okay? Next. Now, there are 3 things that you will be asked to do as well after you file for unemployment. And again, this will be a letter sent to you by mail. One is sign up for the iMatch Skills System, which you can do today. You don't need to wait. You can do it today. And then go to the WorkSource office to complete the welcome process and the ID verification process as well. It's important that you keep an eye on your mail, because when that letter comes, you will have a deadline to get those done, which is usually 2 weeks from the date the letter was issued. Okay, now when you received it, when the letter was issued, it will tell you there when this process should be done by. If you forget to do it, any of them, and the date passes, any weeks after the week that you should have that done will be denied for benefits until you get this process completed. So make yourself a favor. Again, keep a close eye on your mail. Once you get a mail from the Employment Department, then act on it as soon as possible, okay? You can, to get the welcome process done, you can set an appointment. You will have the phone number of the WorkSource office closest to you, which is in the letter. You will have the address and their phone number. So you can actually give them a call, set an appointment, and get this process done. Or you can just storm into, don't storm into the office, but you can go into the office without any warnings and tell them that you wanted to complete the process, and you might need to wait a little bit until somebody is actually free to actually accommodate and get this process done with you, okay? So be patient on that. For the ID verification, there are two types of ID verification. This ID verification in person is basically, you will need to present a couple of ID cards or documents, photo ID documents, government issue for, documents, to verify that the person who is claiming for benefits is you and not somebody else, okay? And I think the next slide has the, let's see the next slide. Right, so there, you will be receiving a copy of this as well in the letter, telling you what are the documents that you can bring, primary documents and secondary documents, and how many of them, okay? Alrighty, next. AAAs. As I mentioned before, you will be certifying that every week that you claim for benefits, you're able to work, you're available for work, and actively seeking for work. I already explained what is actively seeking work and what are the requirements for that. Being able to work, we define as you are both physically and mentally capable of performing the type of work that you are seeking, okay? And the type of work that we're seeking, we also use the term of suitable work for you, okay? And keep that in mind, suitable work. Suitable work is the type of work that you perform, that you have the training, the skills, and the ability to perform and the experience performing that type of work, okay? That is a type of work that's suitable to you. Being available for work means that you will be willing to work both full-time, part-time, be willing to accept temporary and permanent work, and be available for work during all the days and hours customary for the type of work that you are seeking. Being available also means being capable of accepting and reporting for all suitable work opportunities in your labor market. Your labor market is basically defined as the area where all the people that performs the same type of work that you do commutes to perform that work. For example, if you live closer to Portland, and OHSU, where is it? Where are you guys located?
It's in the Portland, like in the hills, just south of downtown.
Okay, so if the type of work that you perform is usually performed in Portland. If you live in Beaverton or you live, in Gresham, then you are expected to commute to Portland to perform that type of work. That's the labor market. So that's important for us to have a very updated physical address in your profile for two things. One is to determine that your labor market, but also that we are sending the letters that have deadlines to the correct address as well. Okay. Now, what does it mean that during the days and hours customary for the type of work that you are seeking? If your type of work, let's say, is teaching or instructing students, or typically is performed Monday through Friday, then those are the days, and from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 p.m., those are the days and hours that you are expected to be available for work. If the type of work that you perform, even if now you're performing them in one specific schedule, if the type of work that you perform also in the community is performed during the swing shift or night shift, then you will need to be available. And if it's from Sunday to Saturdays, meaning all the days of the week, you need to be available to accept any work that is performed between Sunday and Saturday, all 3 shifts, okay? That's an expectation. And that's what it means. Next. I mentioned about the waiting week. This is a mistake that some people makes that is important that you avoid. Remember what I said, that you need to file for unemployment during the week that you want to start claiming for benefits. And I even said you want to file for unemployment between September 1st, which is a Sunday, and September 7th, which is a Saturday of that week. Because some people will think, okay, I'm going to wait until September 8th, Sunday the 8th or the 9th, so the following week. So that week from the 1st to the 7th is going to be my waiting week. I don't get paid. I don't file for unemployment then. That is going to be my waiting week. And then I file for unemployment for the week that goes from the 8th to the 14th. If you do that, you just lost a week, okay? Remember that the waiting week is the first week that is eligible for benefits, is counted as the waiting week. If you have not claimed a week, that cannot be counted as a waiting week. And if you file a week of benefits, for example, if you earn more than your weekly benefit amount on that week, or you work 40 hours or more, then that week will not be eligible for benefits either. So then the following week, if you don't work or you are eligible even for $1 for that week, then that week will be eligible for benefits and can be used as a waiting week. Does that make any sense? Okay. Silence is a yes to me. Now, let's say that you had planned some vacation time. Why not? You know, you have the time now. So if you leave your, we call it labor market, but basically if you, the question in the week is, did you leave your residency for more than 3 days during that week? If you go somewhere else, not to the hospital, not to, you know, whatever the reason is, you still are in your labor market. It's just if you go somewhere else, let's say to the coast or, you know, away from where you usually live, for more than 3 days, for more than half of the week, and you claim that week for benefits, then you need to let us know that you did leave. And what will happen is Francis will send you a set of questions to you. That week will not be paid. It will be put on hold. This does not mean that you're denied. It's just put on hold. You're not going to get paid until we receive your information and we can determine whether you will be or not eligible for benefits for that week, or how many weeks you were outside of your residency. Okay. Next. Sometimes you don't, if you have little kids, you don't have a job, you don't have the money to pay, you lose your childcare. That's an issue that we would like to know. Let's say that your car breaks and you no longer have transportation. If you cannot actually use the public system, you are sick for more than half of a week that you're claiming for benefits, or you are hospitalized during that week, we would like to know. If you decide to start attending to school, if you start your own business, you say, you know what, not gonna look, I'm not gonna work for somebody else, I'm gonna work for myself. Absolutely, 100%. But you need to let us know that that's what you're gonna be doing from now on. Or for whatever reason, you only can work certain days or certain shifts. We also need to know about those things. Any availability issue will be reviewed and may impact your eligibility for unemployment insurance benefits. Now, if any of this is present and you are claiming for benefits, those weeks will not be paid. And every week that you claim for benefits, you will be receiving a letter saying that we cannot pay benefits for this week because there is an issue that needs to be resolved. So that's what it means. It's not a denial letter. You won't be able to appeal a decision with that letter because no decision has been issued yet. My department, adjudication, will be the one determining whether you will be or not eligible for benefits. And once you have a decision, then you can appeal that decision if you do not agree with the decision issued by the employment department. If you decide to appeal the decision, please continue claiming every week without stopping, because if you are denied benefits for that week or for the totality of your claim, if at the time of the hearing, the judge decides that you are actually eligible for benefits, then all the weeks that have been denied or have not been paid, then they will be processed and paid, minus the waiting week again. But if you stop claiming, the judge says, yeah, you are eligible for benefits, and then you want to get those weeks back, most likely you're not going to be able to get them. You're going to be denied, and you will be able only to get the week that you just restart a week prior or the same week that you are living on that. So please continue claiming. Being denied benefit does not stop your ability to claim every week for benefits, okay? Next. Alrighty, additional info. The total amount of weeks that you will be able to receive benefits is 26 weeks, which is 6 months. You have a year, 52 weeks to claim 26 weeks of benefits, okay? So you might be able to, hopefully you find the job as soon as possible, let's say, you know, in a couple of weeks. If you only claim a few weeks, then you find the job, then you decide, okay, I don't need to claim anymore. You don't need to let us know, tell us, hey, I'm closing my claim, you just stop claiming, okay? Your claim is there. It has a lifespan of 1 year. If you need to claim again, you will need to restart your claim to resume claiming for benefits. If you have been working with somebody, then we will need the information of that employer. When did you start working, the name of the employer, phone number, address, when did you start working for that employer, what was your position, your pay rate, how many hours you worked, how much did you earn with that employer before taxes during the time that you were working with that employer, the reason for the separation, and if it's, you know, laid off, awesome. If it's a different reason, then we might need to look into, again, if you are eligible or not for benefits due to that type of separation, if you were fired or you decide to quit, etc. If your claim ends and you don't use all the benefits, they do not accumulate. You're use it or lose it. If in the future, if you 1 year later you need to claim again, then the whole new process will start. We're gonna determine whether would be what is going to be your weekly claim, weekly benefit amount. It most likely is going to be different. It could be higher, it could be lower. It will depend. But just keep that in mind. One doesn't transfer to the other. If you work part-time or temporary jobs, let's say part-time, if you are not working 40 hours every week, and you want to, you can claim for benefits during the weeks that you're working. Again, just keep in mind that first, if you work 40 hours or more, the week will not be eligible for benefits. So if you work less than 40 hours and you earn less than your weekly benefit amount during a week that you're claiming for benefits, then you potentially could receive some of the benefits while claiming, okay? So if you're working part-time, just a few hours during the day or during the week. It is important to know that if you are in that situation, you are still required to report the 5 work-seeking activities and at least 2 direct contact with an employer that is not your current employer, okay? It's a requirement. Alrighty. Now, if you miss claiming a week of benefits, for whatever reason, just forgot or decide not to, I'm too tired, I don't want to do it, You feel rebellious. Whatever the reason is, if you want to restart claiming, you need to restart your claim if you miss 1 or more weeks of claiming, okay? Now, when you restart your claim on this situation, you can restart the claim for the week that ended, the week prior, than during the week that you are restarting your claim, or during the same week that you want to restart your claim. If you do it for the week prior, you will need to provide the work seeking activities for that week, okay? So keep that in mind. And I think we're ready for the next one.
Real
Now,
quick, I have a question in the chat, Malcolm.
yes.
So Cindy asked, if we have worked remote since March of 2020 and never came back in person at the direction of OHSU, are we required to look for in-person work?
Yes. The answer to that is yes. You need to be available for in-person work, even if you were working remotely, okay? Now, you can look for work that is remote, but when you report your work-seeking activities, it has to be work that you are willing to be in person, okay? Just don't report the ones that, we cannot tell you, do not look for those work, that type of work. Do as many as you want to, but when you report the ones, the type of work that you are willing and available to work in person. But yes, that's an expectation and a requirement. Same thing with type of work that is somewhere else. If you're looking for work, online on other states, by all means, but don't report those when you report your weekly benefit, your work-seeking activities for the weeks that you're claiming, okay? The weeks that you're reporting are the ones that are in your area that you usually would, or somebody would be commuting to perform, okay? We call it your labor market. Excellent question. Cindy also asked for.
She and I, or Cindy and I have been going back and forth. That was the only question I didn't want to answer because that was yours. I think I got the rest for Cindy.
The waiting week, okay.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Now let's jump to, are any of you teachers or perform any type of direct instructions to students? Yes? Okay, so for some school employees, let me read this part because I have not memorized this because it's a lot. The federal law prohibits the use of base period wages to establish monetary eligibility during break periods if someone has performed services in certain capacities for educational employers. Educational employers include lower education from K to 12 or higher education, college or vocational, and educational services districts, call it ESD, with work performed in instructional, research, or principal administration capacity. Therefore, if an individual has base years wages from an educational employer, we must review their claim to see if they are eligible during a scheduled break time or recess period. It is very important that when you are filing your initial claim that you get very specific on your duties. There is a little box there that says, explain your duties. Please explain. So I did these 50 or more percent, like 70% of the time that I work in a week. I did this other type of work that I did it, about 20%, and this other one about 10%, etc. Or this many hours during the week. That is information that is very valuable to us to determine your eligibility under the school employees, okay, for those issues. Who is considered a school employee? For the purpose of unemployment insurance benefits, a school employee is someone who works for a public or private school services. The rule for school employees does not apply to services performed in other than instructional, research, or principal administrative capacity. And this is based on the Senate Bill 489 from January 7th, 2024. Next.
And I just want to say the reason that's so important is because OHSU is an educational institution, even though the AFSCME workers aren't typically instructors, because you're putting OHSU, it's going to trigger more questions, right, Malcolm? And that's what you were talking about, is being as specific as possible about what your role was, what your duties were, because that helps the employment department understand that even though you're at OHSU, you're not in an educational role, right, Malcolm? That's what you were speaking to.
That is correct, yes. So the more information that you can provide is the less time we spend asking you additional questions just to determine that. But we might still send some questions to your employer depending on what the answers are. But yes, the more that information that you provide, we can say, oh yeah, this person actually does not fall under this law and or covered by the Senate bill, so we can just dismiss that issue and you can start getting benefits. But if you don't, then we're going to be asking questions, and we might get to the same outcome. It's just going to take longer, and the longer that we take, the longer you wait for benefits to be sent to you. Okay, so as specific as possible as the key. Now, break periods defined is you may not be eligible for unemployment insurance benefits when the school is on break between terms or years if the conditions of your job have changed and you no longer have reasonable assurance you may be eligible for unemployment insurance benefits. What is a break period? Break periods are time frames within an academic year when school employees may not be scheduled to work. These may differ from institution to institution, but can be based on the usual holidays or vacation periods, or recesses between years or terms. What are the different breaks? A holiday or vacation period is a time frame within an academic term when employees do not usually work. A break between terms is a break or recess period between defined academic terms or years. The difference in types of break periods can affect your eligibility for unemployment insurance benefits. That's a very fancy way to explain. There are breaks that are like the spring break or the Christmas break or whatever, that is just a couple of weeks, or the summer break, which is the end of one academic year and there is, like 2 months before the next academic year starts. Next. There is some information under the school workers in our Francis Online, in our website, actually, in unemployment.oregon.gov, that also defines this information. Next. Now, as part of the school employee review, Francis Online will send a questionnaire to you online, to your online account. Complete the information within the period required. Also, it is important to provide details of your job duties when filling your initial claim. Also provide your reduction in force letter or contract agreements for the next academic period. This is very crucial because sometimes the person who is filling the information on the other side, on the employer, might not be familiar with your type of work and the duties that you perform. So if you, for example, they might not remember everything or make a mistake, just hit the wrong spot. Happens all the time. If you can provide a contract, a copy of the contract that you have for the following academic period, or a job offer, any copy, please send it to us, because that's something that we can review and determine, oh, okay, no, yeah, it looks like an employer make a mistake. So please provide as many information as possible. If you have contracts, send a copy of that. You can upload them in Francis Online, or you can actually attach it to that questionnaire that Francis Online is going to send you for you to fill out. As much documents that you can provide, the better. Okay. Next. And that's for the next slide.
And then one more thing I just want to touch on very quickly. Malcolm, so severance. These workers are getting severance based on years of service. Do they need to claim their severance in their weekly claims at any point?
No. The only time or earnings that you report when you are claiming a week of benefits, especially the first week, when you're probably going to receive the severance pay. Severance pay is not for work that you perform. It's usually a way for the employee to say, I am so sorry that you are the one that have to go. So here's something for you to, to hold you for a little while you find another job. That does not need to be reported as earnings on the week that you are claiming for benefits, okay? Because it's not for work that you performed. The only earnings that you need to report are the hours that you worked during that week, between that Sunday and the Saturday of the week that you're claiming for benefits, okay?
And so same thing with like vacation, PTO, if they're getting paid out at the end.
Yeah, any extra payments of whatever it is, you don't need to report. But in case of the week that you guys are going to be laid off, if you are going to be paid for the hours during the holiday on September 2nd, you do need to report those hours and how much you're going to get paid. So hours times pay rate equals total amount. Excellent.
Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you for clarifying that, because I know that can be something that kind of catches people in their claims. I don't have anything in the chat right now, and I don't have any hands raised. So Malcolm will stay on, y'all. If you can always direct message Malcolm in the chat if you like, or catch him at the end. Michael, let's pull you up now to talk about health insurance. Oh, go ahead, Malcolm. What's up?
One more thing. All the information that I gave you on requirements are for regular claim. WorkSource Office, they have some programs available for you. If you qualify for any of their programs, either the SEA program or the TRA program, if you qualify for any of them, then they will set the requirements for you to qualify for benefits, okay? But you need to wait until you are accepted in their program before you will start being under their requirements. Before that, you're under my requirements. No, the unemployment requirements, okay? As I explained today. Thank you.
Thank you, Malcolm. All right, so Michael from the Oregon Health Insurance Marketplace is going to talk to us about the options that y'all have. So Michael, real quick, OHSU has offered COBRA extension based on years of service. So people's times will vary as far as when their coverage will end. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Perfect. Thank you, Teal. All righty. Next slide. There we go. Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Michael. I'm with the Oregon Health Insurance Marketplace, and we're going to talk a little bit about the health insurance options that are going to be out there and what might be available to you all. And based on what Teal just mentioned with respect to the continuation of the COBRA coverage for varying time periods for folks, that'll impact, and I'll cover that a little bit in this presentation. So first thing I want to talk about is kind of the different things that are out there on the public side and on the private side. On the public program side, you're going to have Oregon Health Plan and the new OHP Bridge, which is just kind of an extension upward of the income that folks can make and still qualify for OHP, Medicare, and of course VA benefits. And then on the private side, you're going to have the employer-sponsored coverage, or COBRA, and then direct purchase, which is going to be coverage that you purchase directly through an insurance carrier, and then of course health insurance plans that you can purchase through the marketplace. Keep in mind, the marketplace is the only way to get help paying for the coverage, so it's a big component. Next slide, please. So starting off with COBRA, and kind of in a continuation of that continuation that the employer is going to provide, it's basically going to be coverage that continues just as your active employment coverage would. The difference is typically it's much more expensive. Generally speaking, you pay the full amount. That's the part that you would pay and the part that the employer paid on your behalf, plus a small administrative fee. So it can be very, very pricey without assistance. But it sounds like OHSU is going to offer a subsidy to help continue that COBRA for some period of time. And so that'll also impact your term that COBRA will be good for, whether that's 18 or 36 months. So that'll be presented to you on your COBRA offer letter. So keep that in mind. One thing to note is, generally speaking, when you do elect COBRA, it can influence what you can do with the marketplace, up until the current or next open enrollment period. So keep that in mind. Next slide, please. So private health insurance, again, you can enroll directly. There's a bunch of different carriers in Oregon that you can do this through. The disadvantage is you don't have any way to know if you might have been eligible to get help paying for that coverage. And there's a lot of different benefits that can come in the way of financial help. And so you can get tax credits, you can get cost share reductions, and generally speaking, people are pretty surprised at how much you can actually earn and still get help. So keep that in mind. Another benefit of using the marketplace is that you have the ability to kind of have an apples to apples comparison, not just of the health plans available in the private market, but how those compare to the COBRA offer that you'll have. And then, of course, to apply, you would have open enrollment, which starts in November, goes through from the 1st of November through the 15th of January each year. And with the qualifying event that would happen, like with the loss of employer coverage, you'd have an additional window of time outside of that normal period to get in and get coverage. And that's 60 days before you lose coverage and up to 60 days after you've lost coverage. So a window, a total of 120 days to get in and get new coverage. The thing that's going to be a little different with this case is because you'll have some additional COBRA help or additional help paying your COBRA coverage for a period of time. You'll have this special enrollment period both when your current coverage as an active employee ends, and again, when the help, whatever that help looks like that OHSU is going to provide to pay for the COBRA, when that ends, you'll have that window open up again. So depending on when that is, it might overlap with our current open enrollment period anyway, but just keep that in mind. Next slide, please. So types of financial help that you can get, I mentioned premium tax credits. So that's going to be what helps bring down your monthly costs. So those premiums that you'll pay every month, can significantly reduce those. And those are good on any health plan through the marketplace. And then of course, cost share reductions. Those are going to help take down those out-of-pocket costs. Your deductibles and maximum out of pockets, co-pays, co-insurance, things of this nature. It'll help reduce those pretty significantly. To get the cost reductions, though, you do have to be enrolled in a silver level plan, which is kind of a mid-level plan. For folks that are part of the American Indian or American Natives communities, you can enroll actually in any plan and still get those benefits. So it's a little bit of a nice benefit there. Next slide, please. Oregon Health Plan, that's the Medicaid program in Oregon. It's going to be state-based medical coverage, and it's completely free. So eligibility for OHP is going to be based a little differently. It's still going to be based on income and household size. The difference is that they're going to look at your monthly income as opposed to just your annual income. So it's slightly different, but they'll all be on the same application. They're going to look at your age, if you're pregnant, and of course, some programs are going to be based on additional factors such as age, blindness, or disability. Another difference is with OHP is it's going to be available all year round. So there's no open enrollment window or open enrollment period or special enrollment periods. It's just open all year. Next slide, please. So OHP Bridge, that's the newer component of OHP that allows folks with higher incomes to still qualify for Oregon Health Plan. It's still state-based coverage. It is free coverage. There's no costs like co-pays or deductibles. The eligibility is going to be based similarly on income, household size, age, and then also immigration status. And again, is also available all year. Next slide. Medicare, of course, for folks that are 65 or older. Sometimes folks that are under 65, if you have a qualifying disability, can also be eligible for Medicare. It's a federal program. It's available through Social Security. And generally speaking, you can acquire Medicare through the initial enrollment period, the AEP, the annual enrollment period, and of course, after your group plan ends. Next slide. Excuse me, I didn't want to sneeze in everybody's ear. So programs to save on Medicare costs, there's a couple different ones. So the Medicare Savings Program can help folks up to 135% of the FPL or federal poverty level. And you can sign up for that program through the local area aging with people with disabilities offices. And of course, there's limited income subsidy as well, which is extra help on prescription drugs. And that's going to have a limit on income up to 150% of the current federal poverty level. That's going to be available directly through Social Security. Next slide, please. So some things to keep in mind. Make sure to really look at all your options. Again, it's a shame to see folks think that they're not going to qualify for a program or another and find out that they left some important benefits or money on the table. We have a really neat tool on our website at OregonHealthcare.gov. It's called our window shopping tool. And it's neat because you can see kind of what's out there, what's available, what kind of financial help you might be able to qualify for. And also, again, that ability to compare those plans, look at an apple-to-apple comparison as to what's out there in the marketplace. And of course, also how it might, compare to your benefits, premiums, and costs with COBRA. So kind of a neat program. Definitely worth considering, of course, that COBRA option, especially if they're covering or helping cover part of that for you. But keep in mind when that help ends, it does open up a new opportunity for you all to go out and look at other options. So keep that in mind. For of course, again, OHP and the OHP Bridge available all year. So no rush there. Of course, you do have that limited time I mentioned on the private coverage, the 60 days before and after you lose coverage, as well as with COBRA. You'll have 60 days to elect that COBRA coverage also. So keep that in mind. We have a really neat tool. We call it our Find Local Help tool. It's at OregonHealthcare.gov/gethelp. And you can plug in your zip code or your street address, and it's going to populate with bunches of our really great a network of partners. We have both community partners and licensed insurance agents that work with us directly, and it will help you completely free of charge. So well worth it if you have questions or unique situations that you want to run by a professional. Would definitely recommend that. Of course, you're always welcome to reach out to my team as well. And I will put our contact number in the chat as soon as I'm done presenting here. Next slide. Thank you. And of course, if there are any questions, happy to take those now.
I've been monitoring the chat. I don't have anything in there, and I don't have any hands raised.
Perfect.
But again, Michael's going to post the phone number. Oh, Lisa, go ahead. I see your hand.
When we apply for the health plan, either the Oregon Health Plan or the Marketplace, that's correct. That's probably what I'm going to go for.
Yeah.
When they ask for your income, we put in the income when we're not employed, but does that income include the I can't even think of the word right now. So the income, I'll be getting 0 salary, but I will be getting unemployment benefits. So does the unemployment benefits count as my income?
It does, yeah. So anything you receive as far as unemployment insurance, that will count as far as what they're looking at in your current month, next month's income if there's apply there, as well as if that however that impacts your annual gross income for the current year. So for 2024, that'll have some impact, I'm sure. And you'll just do your best guess on the yearly income, and the again best guess including that income for your current and next month.
Okay, I have another question. So
Sure.
part of my severance package is they're going to pay for 1 month of health insurance, and it can be Cobra or it can be this other option, which is what I'm choosing to do. So is there like what the initial, if you sign up for the Marketplace and they say this is what you're going to get and this is how much it's going to cost, I would use that first month of benefit to go towards that first payment.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah,
that how
so
that works? Okay.
that's a unique option. Generally speaking, it'll just be assistance in paying your Cobra specifically. But yeah, if they're providing you some sort of a stipend to help with any type of coverage option, you could just apply that towards your whatever you're charged out of pocket for your premiums, outside of any financial help that you receive. Or you may qualify for free coverage potentially. So in that case, I'm not sure how you would apply that money, but yeah, worth looking into. And I'm sure somebody with OHSU could give you some more information on what to do if you're qualifying for free coverage. But yeah, some things to consider, and it's really case by case. But the Cobra for 1 month, maybe it makes sense, right? If you've met your deductible and you're out of pocket maximum, and maybe you have a procedure coming up and you want to make sure you have that continuity of care, it might well make sense. And on the other hand, if you haven't met a deductible and you don't have anything coming up, and that's not as much of a concern, then maybe you look at what else is out there, and see where that money might be better spent. So but we're happy to help. So if anything comes up for any of you guys, Lisa or anybody else, please reach out, and we'll be happy to help, give you some guidance, answer questions, or whatever we can do to help.
And I have another question. So my last day of work as an employee is the 3rd. So should I sign up for this now or wait till the 3rd?
Well, so whatever they're going to look at, you're going to kind of have to look at it from the perspective of what's your income going to look like and what you're kind of looking to try to qualify for. So given that where we're at, if your income's going to go through the 3rd, does it make a difference if you were to apply in the month of September as opposed to now, when your income may be less in September? You may have, you may qualify for more options than you would if you applied right now. So it's something to consider. And then the other side of that coin is the sooner that you do it, the less chance there is you'll have a gap in coverage when you're at the coverage end. So something to consider. And like I said, if we can help at all in making those decisions easier, let us know.
Thank you, Lisa. Those are great questions. Michael, Cindy put in the chat As I understand, the concern with Cobra is once you opt in, you can't opt out. Could you just speak to that a little bit again?
Definitely. Yeah, it's a great
Thank you.
question. Yeah, so you're never compelled to stay with Cobra. You can cancel it just simply by not making continued payments, and it will end. I promise you that. What they're talking about really is more on the other side. Once it does end, because you will have given that up, voluntarily, it would not count to open a new um, enrollment period to go on and get coverage elsewhere. That's really where that matters. So you're welcome to end the Cobra. There's nothing that locks you into that, but it does have some unintended consequences if you give it up voluntarily and you don't have anything else that would open that window. Now, if you took the Cobra and you had help for a month and then the help ended, you'd have another open enrollment period anyway, or special enrollment period anyway. So there are ways around that. But yes, that's kind of where that matters.
Cindy, if you can shoot me a thumbs up or something, let us know that that made sense, because that's a really good question. And we know Cobra can be kind of daunting because of the price tag on it. Okay. Yep. Cindy's cool. All right. Awesome. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate the thoroughness of that. Frederique, let's pull you up now for work source.
Hello, I'm here.
Awesome.
I don't think I can get my camera working because it says the host has to do it, which is new to me. I didn't know that you would even be able to operate my video. So start. Okay. Now you're okay. Awesome. There I am. Hi, everyone. That's a new feature. Zoom's coming up with new stuff all the time. Wonderful. Hi, everyone. My name is Frederica. I work for ERCO, which is a large nonprofit in North Portland, and we are operating not only for Portland people, but also for the whole state of Oregon, if you will. And the really interesting thing about us is that we are in the middle of a network of partners, and our partners also nonprofit organizations, and our partners are located in one of these work source centers that you see listed on the slide. So we, as ERCO, we are located at Northeast, and then we have the Mount Hood Community College at Gresham, and we have Southeast Works at WorkSource Southeast, and then we have PCC at the WorkSource Beaver Hillsborough and Tigard. So this is really the idea of WorkSource is really more a resource hub than anything, and it's really great because all of us are connected with each other, and we'll be able to make referrals to whatever resource you are in need for. And WorkSource is the main partner, of course, is Oregon Employment Department, and we're all sitting under one roof. So you can just walk in if you like, and you'll get a 60-minute conversation with one of the OED staff members for career exploration. If you think this is a good time to just do some exploration, maybe go back to school, maybe do some training or some certification, just come on in. You'll have someone that provides career exploration, but also referrals to other resources. We are called the training team, sometimes called skills team. So if you walk in and you ask for us to talk to someone on the skills team, that's totally possible. What we do is we provide, could you go to the next slide, Teal? Thank you. So WorkSource really is, I guess it formerly was known as American job center, but now it's WorkSource, and we have tons of funding from the federal from federal resources. We also have state funding and City of Portland funding and county funding. So it really is a mix of all different kinds of funding levels and funding pots. But all of that doesn't need to concern you. I'm here to tell you that we have funding for short-term occupational trainings. So if you are interested in really taking this time while you are applying for unemployment insurance, you can just as well, if you like, apply for a short-term occupational training and go to school, and you would apply for a TUI, training unemployment insurance, and once you are approved, you don't even have to search for, you don't have to do your job search activities. You can just concentrate and focus on your training. That could be anything from 1 to 3 days training in construction to a 4 weeks training of commercial driving to healthcare and administration. We go all the way up to 2 years associates. We do have registered nurses, 2 actually at the moment going for a certification for registered nurses. We do have licensed practitioner nurses training and all kinds of trainings. And these trainings you can find on the training providers. You can find on the Oregon State eligible training provider list. But before I go into that, I just want to also mention that we have all kinds of, I already said, career counseling, but also we give out job leads. We help with job placement assistance, especially OED does that. They help you navigate Quality Info, which is a great statewide resource website to understand careers and understand wages and wage increases and to understand what's coming in the next 10 years and what the pay is on average. So all kinds of information you can find on qualityinfo.org. And in the WorkSource centers, OED career specialists are there for you to help you navigate all this. We also do workshops, and every week we have free in-person but also virtual, a lot of virtual workshops, a lot of hybrid workshops. Just sign up and you're good to go. We do resume writing and there is interviewing. If you say it's been a while and it's been a while, I need some reminders of what to do and what not to do, do's and don'ts in an interview. Or if you think it's been a while since you've done your resume and you really like to get help here, please don't hesitate to just join these wonderful workshops that we have available. And the training opportunities, yes, we do have, they are focused on target industries, IT not anymore, but healthcare, construction, manufacturing, clean energy, and what is not on here is early childhood education. We really encourage you to look into early childhood education because we have wonderful programs with career coaching. If you're interested and you say, it's always been a dream, I always wanted to be in early childhood education, please contact us and come to us, and we'd love to see you. So we have clean energy, manufacturing, construction, healthcare, and early childhood as so-called target industries. And if you could switch to the next field. If you go to, one more, I think that's the slide deck that, I can talk about that too. I was, before I do that though, I was wondering if you all have an IMAGE Skills account, because with that, you can also log into my WorkSource And my worksource is an account, which is an incredibly platform with incredibly many free trainings as well, talking about training. So two different things. One is I'm a skills account that you need for your unemployment benefit. But once you have that, you just next step could possibly be to create your My WorkSource account. Yeah, and that is an option to do that. It's not mandatory. So, but if you have a My WorkSource account, it's a separate set of credentials that you need to log in. You have access to all the workshops that I just mentioned. On top, you can see workshops. You also have access to, if you click on Find Jobs, you have access to the actually largest Oregon statewide job search platform, because they mix all the job search platforms together. And then you have access to Metrics Learning, which is a, I want to say fairly new platform, but it's really up to date. It's really working smoothly, and it's really well done how you can organize your career and your career pathways. Hundreds of career pathways you can browse, and you can get all kinds of they call it tracks. Get some free trainings under your belt while you're applying for unemployment benefits, and get all kinds of certifications, and that's all free, and that's on Metrics Learning. Could you go to the next slide? I'm not sure if that's the end of my presentation. Just wanted to make sure I'm talking. Yeah, sorry. Just wanted to make sure I'm talking a little bit longer about the occupational. Wanted to share. Can I share my screen real quick? I can't. No? Possibly no? Yep. Wonderful. Thank you. So WorkSource Portland Metro, that's your landing page. No, that's not your landing page. That is your landing page. And in the center, you can see training and education.
Do you want to try to reshare it? It hasn't come up yet. There we go.
Thanks, Gail.
Thank you.
No, stop sharing. God, I have done that how many thousands of times now? All right. Here. That's the one. Sorry, folks. All right. So this is, no, it's not doing it. It's screen number 1. Second. Screen number 3, I want to share. And now share. Nope, sorry. Just sharing the. Okay, I give it one more try, and then I'll see what happens. Yeah, you should be able to see that now, right? Are you able to see the WorkSource website? Okay, awesome. Sorry for that. I'm going to call it a glitch. All right. In the center, you see the training and education, and if you click on that, so that's the WorkSource Portland Metro website, and you click on that. And in the very bottom, by the way, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see the application. You just click on it and you download. But we really encourage you to start the conversation with us first, one of the training teams in the region, before you fill out an application, just to make sure you're set up for success, really. But I wanted to also show you the eligible training programs. When you click on that, and the very top of this page, when you click on that, you can see 2 links. Number 1 is the statewide eligible training provider list that lists all the training providers in Oregon, and it's a lot, but it's very inspiring to just browse through. Or if you're looking for a specific school, if you know already it has to be PCC, or I really want to do, it's all different kinds of universities and colleges and training providers, private training providers. And then I'm want to highlight the target sector occupation list. If you click on that, and you can then download this file, you will see the tabs in the bottom. You can see that it's divided up in healthcare. So it lists all the eligible occupations that we can fund training. And then you can see construction and manufacturing and clean energy. And you can also see the early childhood. But I'm just going to click one more time back to healthcare, and you'll see all the occupations listed that we can potentially fund. So come talk to us and take advantage of the funding that we have. Thank you, and that's it.
Thank you, Frederique. I have been monitoring chat, and I think we are good there, and I don't have any hands. So Shamra, if you want to load, there we go. The RBS, and then Chris is here to speak about some other things that the WorkSource offices and the staff there can assist with. So go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, thank you so much, Teal. Yeah, so one of the services that Frederica touched on in that last presentation about WorkSource services broadly is regional business services. The Oregon Employment Department, OED WorkSource. And again, WorkSource is sort of this umbrella term that is it's kind of a consortium of a bunch of different state government entities, nonprofits, et cetera, kind of all under one umbrella. And we use the term co-located, so kind of in the same offices where you can get all of these services. And with the Oregon Employment Department WorkSource, so in addition to our career services team, we have a smaller team in the Portland Metro statewide called the Regional Business Services team. The work of my team is really focused primarily on serving employers kind of as our clients, our primary customers via this public service. So employer payroll tax in the state of Oregon pays the substantial portion of that goes to the UI trust, so paying unemployment insurance, but a portion of that goes to public services, so employer facing services. All that background to say, the work of my team is primarily around serving employers, which more often than not pertains a lot to serving employers with recruitments. And so what that means is when I'm working with an employer and they need assistance finding qualified applicants, the first place I always look is that database that Frederica mentioned, that Teal mentioned in the chat, called iMatch Skills. So that's going to be absolutely essential for accessing OED WorkSource career services generally. It's also a requirement of filing that unemployment insurance that we talked about, is having that welcome conversation, one component of which is registering. But it's really important to make a comprehensive, detailed iMatch skills profile, because my team will run matches. So we'll enter job listings on behalf of an employer. And when we're conducting a recruitment, we're running matches for really specific criteria of job seekers who are in our system. So in addition to that, that's sort of where we help with job placement. We don't really do so much job development, i.e. we're not able to really kind of create a job out of thin air for somebody, much as I wish we could. But what we'll do is we'll run recruitments, we'll check our system first before we do anything else with it, like posting it externally, to see if there were qualified job seekers in our system who align with the preferences for what we're seeking. Yeah. So it's a really good service in terms of just getting seen by an employer in front of an employer, because of the quality of relationships that my team, broken up by sector, will build with local businesses. We can really assist as far as giving an endorsement to an employer is concerned, putting in a good word. And over time, employers have come to really trust that the candidates that we refer, that we pre-screen through our system, that we review resumes for, are going to be really high quality. So if you want to be noticed and you want, after that, initial iMatch skills welcome process intake, you really want to appear in those matches, you'll have a checkbox in registration that'll say, release my contact information to matching employers. Not not only does my team use iMatch skills, employers will sometimes use iMatch skills themselves to run matches to see if they can find great applicants for the roles that they post to iMatch skills, which is a job seeker database, job listing database, and employer database. So a little bit of a tangent. I realize we're over time here. But yeah, thank you all so much for coming today. And I will pass it over to Teal. Unless folks have questions, happy to answer any questions. Yeah.
I got nothing in the chat, so I think we're good. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. And so I just want to close today to reminding everyone, or maybe this is the first time you've heard of it, but 211 is a community-based service that gathers data about local resources. So at any point you can go online to their website, you can download their app, you can call the number 211, but they can help with all sorts of things at any time. So you don't have to have some qualifying reason or condition to call them or to reach out to them, but they can help with food support, affordable childcare, help with getting your taxes done, all sorts of things. So they continuously update their database with local resources available, and sometimes they have funding available, some grants. So just we like to always give a shout out and remind people that 211 is definitely an option to use at any point in life that you may need it. And then our organization is Labor's Community Service Agency. We are partners with AFSCME 328. So I know we run a program for your union specifically, but beyond that, we have other programs available to union workers going through hardship and job loss. So just an extra resource available to you folks. It would go through your union for referral. So you would call up whoever your rep is at your union, and they would refer you to us. And if you qualify, we can help get you into one of our programs for some assistance as well. So just some more things available to y'all. We're going to wrap up because we went a little over time, but that's okay. We're here for y'all, and y'all had amazing questions today. This was recorded. We will get it out to union leadership in the next few days and ask them to send it out to everyone.